Before we get into the combo tutorial, I do want to give a huge shout out to We Play Games West, which is one of my local game stores here in Las Vegas. They were the first ones in town to have these structure decks, and they are the ones that I bought them from, so without them, the last video and this one would not have been possible, so if you're ever in town, make sure to check them out, but without further ado, let's get into the combo tutorial. What's going on, guys? Super Insane 18 here, and if you weren't able to tell from that intro, today we are bringing you a combo tutorial for Despia branded. Now, this is going to be only 4 combos, but as the deck evolves, I will be bringing you guys more. These are just the 4 basic bread and butter combos that you really need to know to play the deck. So let's go ahead and show you guys what it is. The first one is going to start off just branded fusion, and it's actually kind of cool. You have to kind of take into account that one of the reasons this combo is so strong is because if the only playable card in your hand is the branded fusion, you probably have a good number of hand traps, so making this combo with hand traps to back it up is really intense. So we're going to activate the branded fusion and use its effect to send our copy of Fallen Albaz and our Light Hexial. Now, something to keep in mind about the Light Hexial is that fusion material substitutes can't be used from deck. They can only be used from hand, field, and grave. So this isn't substituting as a monster right now. We're using it as the light target that we need to summon out our copy of Albion the Branded Dragon. Now here on summon, because Albion the Branded Dragon was summoned, we can use this effect to fuse again. Here we can use the Fallen Albaz and the Light Hexial, so here the Light Hexial will act as a substitute. So we have a a dragon effect monster, and this will substitute as our Dark Magician, and that will let us summon out our copy of Red Eye's Dark Dragoon. So even though ending on just a Dragoon isn't really all that strong, the fact that if that was the only playable card, like I said, you have all those hand traps in your hand, they won't be able to out a non-targetable, non-destroyable Omni-Negate that's going to get stronger when it Omni-Negates on top of whatever else you have, and not to mention that it is going to go up in attack, and yeah, I just think that this is a really good one-card branded fusion combo. Let's go ahead and show you guys the next one. Now for combo number 2, it is going to be a 1.5 card combo needing the branded fusion and any discard, and this is going to end you on several interruptions during your opponent's turn, as well as providing you with enough searches to follow up for your next turn. So let's show you guys what it is. What we're going to do is we're going to activate our branded fusion, and here we're going to send the Despian Tragedy and the Fallen of Albaz. So this is going to be using an Albaz and a Dark, and that is going to summon out the Lubellion. Now here we're going to use Lubellion Chainlink 1 and Tragedy Chainlink 2. Now you might be thinking that you want to chain block the Tragedy by making it Chainlink 1, but if your opponent had an Ash Blossom, they would have used it on the branded fusion, so you're not really worried about that. I think it's more important to be protecting the Lubellion from something like a Gamma. So Chainlink 1 will have to discard for cost, and then Chainlink 2 will let us search, so we're going to search the Eluber. Let's go ahead and throw the branded fusion in the grave. But now what we're going to be able to do is, since this is now Chain 1 resolving, we're going to shuffle this back into our extra deck, and we're going to shuffle our Fallen of Albaz back into our deck, and this is going to bring out our copy of Mirror Jade. Now Mirror Jade is going to be a really cool interruption during our opponent's turn, but we still have more that we can do since we have not yet normal summoned. So now on the normal summon, what we'll do is we'll normal summon the Aliber, activate the Aliber effect to add our copy of Branded in Red. We will set our Branded in Red, and that is actually going to be our turn. Now the reason this is so many interruptions is we'll use the Mirror Jade effect, and the Mirror Jade effect will send the Albion Dragon to non-target banish a monster our opponent controls, and once we have done that, we can activate this Branded in Red that we have, which will allow us to add our Despian Tragedy, and then we immediately fuse using the Despian Tragedy, the Eluber, and the Mirror Jade, and this will go into a copy of Guardian Chimera. Now, we get to activate a couple of things here. The Guardian Chimera will activate, and we can draw 1 card, because that's what we use from our hand, and non-target pop 2 more cards that our opponent controls, and the Despian Tragedy as well, so we'll go Chainlink 1 Chimera, Chainlink 2 Tragedy. Tragedy will let us search an Eluber for our follow-up, which actually I thought I put that on top. There we go. We'll search the Eluber for our follow-up. Then the Guardian Chimera will draw 1 card, so this will be just a blank because it can be anything. Then we can pop 2 cards non-targeting on our opponents, and then once we go into the end phase, we can activate the effect of the Albion Dragon that we sent off of our Mirror Jade, and that can go ahead and add us another copy of Branded Fusion, or any branded spell that you want if you already have another fusion in your hand, or if you would rather search the fusion with the Eluber. It doesn't matter. I like going for the fusion because then the Eluber can search another branded in red. But that was 3 interruptions on our opponent's turn, and we were also able to accrue more resources, and we still have the other 3 cards that we started with in our hand, unless they were hand traps and we used them for more interruptions. But definitely pretty good combo. Gives us a couple of non-target removals as well as follow-up. Combo number 3 is going to be another 1.5 card combo, and it will be a Luber and any discard. Now, this is actually going to be a very similar board to our last combo, but the sequencing is slightly different and it gets us a little bit more. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by normal summoning out the Eluber. We'll use its effect to add our copy of Branded Fusion. Now here we'll activate the Branded Fusion, and we will again send our Albaz and our Despian Tragedy, and this will summon out our copy of Lubellion. So same as before, we're going to use the Lubellion as Chainlink 1 and the Tragedy as Chainlink 2. Chainlink 1 has to discard for cost. Chainlink 2 resolves, adds us our copy of Ad Libitum. Here we'll take the Lubellion and our Fallen Albaz, and again shuffle those back into the deck for our copy of Mirror Jade. But now what we're going to do is we're actually going to activate the Mirror Jade on our turn. We'll use its effect to send our copy of Albion Dragon to banish our Eluber, and the reason that's important is to let us use the Albion effect in the end phase. So we're going to activate the Albion in the end phase, which will go ahead and set us our copy of Branded Red, and then we can go ahead and pass our turn. Now, what this will do is during our opponent's turn, when we activate our Branded in Red, we can go ahead and add back our Despian Tragedy, and then we can fuse using the Mirror Jade, the Ad Libitum, and the Despian Tragedy, all 3 of these getting banished for our copy of Guardian Chimera. Now here's where the sequencing is going to be slightly different. The Guardian Chimera can activate as Chainlink 1, and then Chainlink 2 or 3 doesn't really matter. I think I would probably make the Ad Libitum Chainlink 3. Chainlink 2 Tragedy, Ad Libitum Chainlink 3. Ad Libitum can go ahead and resummon out the Mirror Jade, and now what this does is the Mirror Jade is no longer locked under the stipulation that it cannot use its effect next turn. So originally, because we used it on our first turn, which would be last turn according to the game state right now, it would not have been able to use its effect again, but it says this card cannot use its effect. So this is no longer this card. Since it left and came back, it is treated as another card, so now we have this live again if we need it. Then we can resolve our Tragedy and add us another Eluber for the follow-up, and then we can go ahead and use the Chimera. Since we use 2, we can go ahead and draw 2 cards, pop 1, then we still have the Mirror Jade that we can still use, so we'll use the Mirror Jade effect again, sending another Albion, getting another Disruption, so now that's 2 non-target removals, and then during the end phase we can go ahead and activate the Albion, and the Albion can go ahead and get us another Branded Fusion. So again, now this just kind of got us more resources. We have now 7 cards in our hand, unless the other 3 that we started with were hand traps. So it's 1 less interruption because we get 1 less pop off of the Chimera, but it's more resources in the hand, and all we needed was to change opening the Branded Fusion for opening an Eluber instead. But I think that that's really good because, again, it's all about a resource game. This deck is not going to just win right off the bat. It's going to play the resource-intensive, kind of slow game for the first couple of turns, but once you get those resources going, you can definitely explode. Now, for our 4th and final combo of today's video, I want to show you how just a Water Enchantress can get you into not only your Mirror Jade, but also a ton of resources for the follow-up on the next turn. So let's show you guys what we're going to do. We're going to start off by activating the Water Enchantress, banishing it from our hand to add our copy of Rite of Aramesir. Now we can activate the Rite of Aramesir, which will go ahead and summon us out a token, and activate the Fateful Adventure from our deck. Here, because we want to keep this as a 1-card combo, because again, like I said in the Dragoon combo, if the only playable card in your hand is a 1-of copy, you're probably loaded up with hand traps. So for the sake of not discarding the hand traps, we'll go ahead and we'll take our token, and we'll link it into a copy of Link Spider. This will activate the Fateful Adventure effect to add our copy of Draco back, and then now we can use the Fateful Adventure to search another copy of Water Enchantress, discarding our Draco back. Now we'll normal summon out the Water Enchantress, and we can take both the Link Spider and the Water Enchantress and link those into a copy of Predaplant Verte Anaconda. Here we'll activate the Verte Anaconda effect, sending our copy of, I could have sworn I put it on top, but I guess I didn't, of Branded Fusion. And now something that needs to be mentioned here is the Branded Fusion does say that the entire turn that you activate this card, you cannot summon from the extra deck other than fusions, but you have to remember that Predaplant Verte Anaconda only copies the fusion effect, so I'm not locked out of using this just because I link summoned. I'll be able to send this and just use the fusion, so we're going to use the fusion to send our Albaz, and we'll send the Predaplant, and that will summon out our copy of Mirror Jade. So we end on the Mirror Jade plus whatever 4 cards we had in our hand, and now what this is going to do is allow us to get just a ton of follow-up, because when we use the Mirror Jade, we're going to send our Albion Dragon, and then in the end phase, the Albion Dragon's going to search us another copy of Branded Fusion. And so now, they're probably going to clear this, they're probably not going to game you, because again, you're probably loaded up with hand traps. You're going to draw a blank card for your turn, and now not only do we have the Branded Fusion, but you have to remember that we also still have our Enchantress in the graveyard. So we can activate the Enchantress to get us another copy of Right, we can activate Right to get us another token, we can activate Fateful to add our Griffin Rider, and we can discard whatever we drew because it doesn't matter. We can special summon our Griffin Rider, and then we're free to activate our Branded Fusion, just going into more resources, and our grave is loaded, and we'll be able to send the Tragedy for Lubellion, and then Lubellion will be able to fusion summon another Mirror Jade. Tragedy will get you an Aluber. Aluber can get you branded in red, and so on and so forth. So just off of nothing but one Enchantress, you generated so much advantage that even though your turn 1 board wasn't really threatening, you're really there on the crackback, and you're probably going to make it really hard for your opponent to win that game. And there you guys have it. That is going to be 4 must-know combos for the Branded Despia deck that you need to know going forward. There will definitely be more combo tutorials and more content on this deck, because this deck just feels like its possibilities are limitless. There are so many different variants and so many different fusions that you can go into, and so many different combos, but today is the first day that this deck is legal, so I just wanted to make sure you guys had a basic bread and butter understanding of the combos that will more often than not get you in there, because those are just 1-2 card combos. If you have 3, 4, or 5 cards in your hand to work with, the possibilities truly are endless. So you guys know the deal. If you liked it, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and maybe consider supporting me on Patreon, because for just $1, you can support the channel in a way that I would never be able to tell you how much I fully appreciate. Once again, I do just want to give a shout out to We Play Games West. Without them, these videos would not be possible, so thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.